Well, here we are ready for week 4. Welcome back. I'm going to apologize now if I sound funny when I'm speaking on the video today. I had to put in my new set of braces last night and they are quite tight this week and I feel like I'm speaking a bit funny. So if you hear me kind of making a little bit of a lisp or speaking funny, I apologize, but it's just getting used to this new set of braces. All right, so for a few things I want to go over. Most of you probably already know this by now. We are doing online learning for the rest of the year. We will not be going back to the school at all this year. So far I've been seeing a lot of really good stuff overall from you guys. You guys have been doing really well with making sure that you're getting your work done, keeping up with the work, doing really good work. And some of you I'm really happy with. You know, you didn't do a whole lot in class sometimes, but you're getting all your work done on the computer. So I'm very happy about that. I do know there's some of you struggling still to get your work done on the computer or having computer issues or things like that. Just please, as much as you can, stay in contact with me and it'll all work out. When it comes to graded work, I have graded all of your week 1 assignments. I've graded all of your week 2 assignments. There might be 1 or 2 of you I need to go back and you turned in week 1 a little bit late and I just need to go and double check. But I will be doing that first thing this morning. For this week, for last week, the mini essay assignment. That one there, I will be putting in the NTIs today, so if you didn't do it, it's going to show up as an NTI. I did post a review video on Friday, like I said I would. It went over all the answers to the questions from the man in the well. So if there's any questions on there that you're kind of confused about, weren't really sure about, weren't sure if you kind of got the right idea with it or not, just go and have a quick look at that video. You do not have to watch the entire video. It did end up being quite long. I put a timestamp in the description of when I start discussing every question, so you can just jump to the question specifically that you want to have a look at. Or if you want to watch the whole thing, please feel free. You'll have a much better understanding of the story and what I was looking for, but it's completely up to you. Last week's essay assignment, I did go through real quick last night and just kind of have a very quick glance just to kind of see how many people turned it in and how many had it. Good for you, for those of you who have turned it in. Those of you who have not, you got to get this in, all right? Please don't just sit there and shut down and say, oh my God, she's asking for an essay. I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. And then you throw away an entire week's worth of points. Don't do that. Because honestly, what I'm asking from last week's essay assignment is less writing than what I asked in week 1 where I asked you to write emails. All right, the only difference here is I'm giving you a structure to follow. You all know the structure. There's notes there to help you with the structure. You can do it. And it's only a mini essay. It's 3 paragraphs. Intro and conclusion, they pretty much are the same, and they're like 3 sentences. So you can do this. Just get on it and get it done. Right now, I'm going to go over week 4's assignment, this week's assignment real quick, just to kind of give you an idea of what you're doing. This week is going to be another story. All right, the name of the story is The Night Face Up. Before you do that, part 1 of the assignment, 10 points. Tell me something positive that you have learned or experienced with online learning. I'm going to start adding these every assignment. I really like hearing from you guys. I like giving you kind of a bit of freedom to just kind of write however you're going to write and just, keep me up to date on what's going on and just, feels kind of like we're a little bit more connected still and not just sitting behind computers all the time. So it is nice to hear from you. All right, so part 2, you're going to read the story. Story is all here in the document. I have once again added a link to a YouTube audio of the story. Now, for some reason, I don't know why the audio, no matter what I do, whenever I use a link, whenever I click on the icon on YouTube, it starts at like 20 minutes into the audio, which is almost right at the end. It's just the way it does. So what I would like you to do, and let's see if it'll let me show you here. What I would like you to do is I would like you to just scroll all the way back to the beginning. And I have to change this link because I put the same link twice instead of a different link. So this link here will be changed. It will be the audio of the story. Now, optional, there is a cute little claymation video that follows along with the story. You can watch it. It kind of gives you a vague idea of what the story is about. It's very surface level. I mean, it's like 9 minutes long, but it's cute. There's barely any speaking in it, and any speaking that there is in it is in Spanish. So it's not in any way going to make up for reading the story or allow you to answer the questions without reading the story, but it does kind of clarify some of the events of the story and kind of help some of the story make more sense. So that is also there as an option for you to watch. All right, so The Night Face Up by Julio Cortázar. Really interesting story. One thing to know before you start reading, it does have what was called parallel plots. So there's two plot lines that happen at the same time, and it jumps back and forth from one to the other. All right, so just like the last time we did a reading, stop here, read the story. I'm going to go over all the questions that you're going to need to answer with the story, but if you have not read the story, then I don't want to give anything away. So I'll put the timestamp in the description here of where the explanation of the questions start, and if you need an explanation of any of the questions, just watch from this point on. So, first question, really, really straightforward, just like the other one. What are your reactions and thoughts to the story? Any questions that you have? Answer in complete sentences, please. All right. It talks about here something called the Flower Wars. This happens in the story. The story is kind of based around these Flower Wars. So basically, just go onto Google, search the Flower Wars. All right. Don't use Wikipedia, but there's some very, very straightforward, simple websites that give you all the information right there when you open up the website that come up real quick in Google. But research the Flower Wars, okay? Paste the URL right here of which website you got your information from. Write your responses in your own words, but research it, When did the Flower Wars happen? The Flower Wars happened in blah, blah, blah. Write in complete sentences. That there gets you your 5 points for that question. Okay, so these first few questions here, incredibly simple, incredibly easy to get your 5 points. When did they start? Who was involved? List some differences between the Flower Wars and regular wars, because the Flower Wars were not like a typical war. They were very different. Talk about the deaths that happen in a flower war and what it actually meant to be killed in the war, because there's a ritualistic kind of tradition with these wars. And then assess the story. Is the story accurate to the wars that were happening during the Aztec reign? And then I have just a couple questions that go over the story itself. So number 8, the story has parallel plots, meaning that it has two plots that play out simultaneously. All right, so you have the plot of everything that's happening in the hospital, and then you have the plot of everything that is happening with the Aztec warriors. And they happen at the same time, but they're different tone, different pacing. They're obviously not the same story, but they intermingle very, very well. So, plot A, I want you to summarize all the major events that make up the plot of the man being in the hospital. All right? Anything that happened when he was in the hospital. And honestly, just follow through the story, and kind of each time it jumps back from one plot to the other, well, pick a major event from that plot and from that particular section. Be like, okay, this is the next major thing that happened. Part B, you're going to summarize all the major events that make up the plot of the man being a warrior participating in the Flower Wars. Okay, so you can do it here in the chart. You can do a bulleted list. You can make a new box for each new major event, whatever. but list here major events of the hospital, list here major events of the war storyline. Number 9, which timeline is actually real? Okay, there's evidence within the story to support each side being real. So find any evidence you can, find an event, find a quote, find something that proves that the evidence that the hospital timeline is real life. And then provide evidence that suggests that the Aztec timeline is actually real. Okay? Some of it might overlap a little bit. Some of it might be, this happened in the Aztec timeline, but, this could not possibly have happened in the hospital timeline. But just try and find some evidence within the story that shows us that each side is real. And like I said, you can use a direct quote from the story. Just make sure you put quotation marks around it, or you can put it in your own words. All right, number 10, Cortazar, that is our author, begins the narrative with the plot concerning the motorcycle accident rather than the one about the manhunt. Why is this choice an effective way to structure the story? Why was it good for the author to start the story with a motorcycle accident instead of starting the story with the manhunt in the jungle and then jumping to the motorcycle accident? What would have been the effect if he had done it that opposite way? Okay, and by thinking of, what would it have been like if he had started with the manhunt and then jumped to the motorcycle accident, you'll be able to determine why it really was effective for him to start with a motorcycle accident happening. All right, number 11, in both plots, the author refers frequently to smells. Explain how the description of smells different in each plot, and how do these differences affect the tone of each plot. Okay, so tone is how the author feels, all right? Nervous, scared, happy, sad, anxious. How are they feeling? And how are these feelings brought about or associated with smells? And you can set this up however you want. You can say plot A, plot B. You can intermingle them together. I'm not really concerned about how you set up the structure. Just explain and make sure you do talk about both plot lines, smells associated with the hospital and the tone that it affects there, smells associated with the manhunt and the tone that is created there. All right, number 12, last question, sorry. The parallel plots in the story tend to mirror each other. All right, for example, the author describes a scene in which the protagonist is x-rayed, taken to surgery, and approached by a doctor. Where in the second plot does the author echo this scene? I will put a little comment beside the spot where this is happening in the story. You'll see a little comment that says this is for question 12, just to get you to that spot. And then all you need to do is look for the man jumping back into the Aztec warrior plot line and find where something very similar to this happens. Where is this event mirrored in that plot line? Okay, important reminders. This assignment is going to be scored out of 60 points, 5 points per question, just like the last reading assignment. It's just a few extra points because there's 2 extra questions. However, like I said at the beginning, very, very, very easy 5 points for that first section there. The Flower Wars took place during blah, blah, blah. The Flower Wars were a part of blah, blah, blah. Very, very simple. So you should be able to get some really good points there. You are going to be scored according to how detailed your answer is, if you write incomplete sentences, and if your answer is accurate. Just an FYI, I was very generous in the points last time. I am not going to be quite so generous this time since you have the last assignment and the review video to refer to see what I am really truly looking for. So I am going to expect a little bit more out of your answers, especially the ones here talking about the story where there is room for discussion and your opinion. So hopefully all of that makes sense. Anything at all that you have questions about, do not understand, Or if you want to just say hi, email me, comment, drop a line somewhere. I will answer. I will get back to you. And I will also be posting a review video about this assignment once the due date has been passed. But once I do that, I will not be able to accept this assignment late. So you're going to need to make sure that you get everything in on time. So everybody have a wonderful week. Good luck with your assignment. Good luck with your assignments for all your other classes. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.